Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I am going to say a very big shout out to Ryan Coogler for doing a great job with Sinner's movie, right? There has been so many review about it, and Black people are also relating it to their experiences. I also love how diverse the movie is because if you have seen the movie, you definitely will understand what I am saying, right? You can see how the Asians, the Black people, and the white people, how it's absolutely very diverse. I think I should just leave it at that, right? A lot of people have so many things to say about it. A lot of people thought there is need for white supremacists to be dismantled, and also a lot of experiences were shared. Some people, the one Asian man was talking about how it is only when it comes to Black people that everybody wants to benefit, but when it is time for them to give to Black people, they run away, which has also been Black experiences and the rest of it. So I am going to say a very big shout out to Black community. You all won, and Ryan did a great job. So why people were talking about the movie, and they talked about how their experiences being a Black person, and there is one that actually caught me. All stories really caught me, right? But there is one that talked about her experience as a child with the cops when they came to knock on her door, and how that was resolved immediately they saw her stepfather, who is a white man. You know what, let's get into the
Play the one drop rule is to underestimate white supremacy. Purity is everything to those people. And that is what people are continuing to miss. Okay? You all are committed to missing that point. As I've said, you're watching the movie with a 2025 lens. But even in 2025, it's imperative that you understand one of the main themes of this movie, which is that white supremacy harms everyone. Okay? It's hurtful to everyone. It fails everyone, even people who are seemingly white, like the character Mary. So although I understand why people are like, well, Black people are too welcoming, we're too open, why are we that way? Why are we that way? Historical context. In the Jim Crow South in the 1930s, those of you who are saying, well, why did they let Mary into their space? Because their space was Mary's space. Like, I don't get what's not clicking about that, okay? Mary was born, raised, socialized, and conditioned as a colored woman. It wasn't until her adulthood that she stepped into the shoes of a white woman, and it was only out of necessity. It was only out of survival. It was not by choice. She made that perfectly clear. She didn't want to be white, but she assumed the role of a white woman because she was told she had to do so. And guess what? It still didn't save her. It still didn't save her. Why? Because white supremacy is harmful to everyone. It was harmful in the way it operated historically, and it's harmful in the way it currently operates. It will always be harmful to everyone. And the fact that you sat and you watched the entire movie and you didn't understand that, again, media literacy is dead. Down.
As a Black girl from the South with a white dad, I understand what Mary was trying to do in Sinners because I actually went through a very similar, very scary, same situation when I was like 11 or 12. The police came to our house. Mind you, they weren't there for us. Something had happened in the neighborhood or something. I don't know. They were there to ask us questions or something, get some information. They knock on the door. I answer the door. Obviously, I'm a kid, but I could tell they were surprised to see me. They were like, oh, okay, Black family lives here. Got it. They're like, so are there any adults home? My first thought is I'm going to go get my mom, right? Because my mom was who I thought handled everything. So I got my mom, walked to the door, and I'm standing there. And they're asking her all these weird questions like, are you the homeowner? And my mom's like, yeah, I own the home. And they're like, oh, how many people live in the home? And I'm thinking, even at 12, I'm thinking, but they're not even, I thought they weren't even here for us. Like, we didn't do anything to have the cops, like, come over. Like, what's going on? But as soon as he asked my mom how many people live here, my mom didn't answer the question. She turned and looked at me and she said, go get your dad. And at this point, now I'm really confused because my mom has never deferred to my dad ever like that. I go get my dad, who is a very large 6'3" white man, and he comes round the corner, and I swear to God, with my own eyes, I watched the cops, both of them, switch up their body language. At first, their hands were on their belt right in front of them, you know? They dropped their hands when they saw my fucking dad. And so he comes to the door and he walks through the door. He steps aside. Him and my mom lock eyes for a minute. They don't say a word to each other. And my dad walks out the front door and closes the door behind him. And me and my mom are in the house. And it's just kind of silent. And I'm just looking, because I still, as a child, I don't really understand what I'm watching happen. And I want to say 30 seconds later, literally 30, my dad walks back in the door, cops are walking out of our driveway, and my mom's like, what happened? My dad's like, oh, they're looking for some, like, blah, 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 like, whatever, no big deal. Interactions with the cops are terrifying for us, even if you're a middle-class Black person. Honestly, in a lot of ways, especially if you're a middle-class Black person, because they get very angry when they see what we have. They get very angry when they see what we've accomplished, what we can afford. When Mary went outside in Sinners, I immediately knew what was happening. And I jokingly call my father like our great white shield, right? Because he kind of, really shields my entire Black family. Where Mary messed up was thinking that as a woman, she carried that weight. No, baby, no. White women make this mistake a lot, and I've watched them do it for years. White women mistakenly think that having white skin makes them respected by white men, gets them listened to by white men. No. It gets you protected by white men, absolutely. It gets you infantilized by white men, absolutely. Respected, no. No. Honestly, the only person who should have stepped out of that barn to go talk to them white people was Bo, the Asian man. And honestly, they probably still would have had a few snippy words to say for him. But out of everybody in that barn, Bo was the only person they would have even a little bit kinda listened to.
I watched Sinners, and I'm not so sure if I'm the one to speak on this, but one of the many lessons I learned from it is there's so much power in shutting the fuck up. Come on in! What are you doing? Shut up. Why is your vengeance and anger so much more important than your solidarity to the Black community who has been there for you, who has uplifted you since the very beginning? Oh, it's because you're only willing to participate if you profit off of them. As a store clerk. Now, there's a lot of history there. But suddenly, the moment you're oppressed, the moment your proximity to whiteness widens, you're willing to throw everyone who has supported you under the bus to get your piece? Look at you. That being said, I'm going to shut the fuck up now.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So 2 days ago, I had the opportunity to watch the movie Sinners. Before going to watch it, I had seen the trailer. I'm very familiar with the director, Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, and some of the other really well-known established actors that were also going to be in the film. I had been made aware that I had been getting really great feedback, and so I want to share with you my thoughts. It was an absolute masterpiece. I'm going to say this, and no one has to agree. That was not a vampire movie. That was a movie that utilized the concept, the themes of vampires, the supernatural, to shed light into the realities of the history of the Black community, and how even in the midst or within the history of the Black community, there are intersections of other communities, demographics, intertwined, right? Which we got a chance to see through the indigenous, native presence in the movie, the Chinese presence in the movie, which was done so amazingly, so thoughtful, so in a way that was very insightful. There was so much symbolism. There was so much emotion. There was so much conflict. in regards to this concept of what we want freedom to look and feel like versus the actualities of freedom, and that being a choice that every single person in this particular movie was given a chance to make. Man, I was blown away. Tears definitely were shed, because there was also the component of a lost child. There was a component of the afterlife and being able to reconnect with your loved ones. The scene where it was the past, present, and future influences of Black culture, the Black community, so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I've been disappointed in seeing some folks be so disconnected between what the movie was teaching us, reminding us, bringing back to our attention, and helping us remember in regards to, again, how the past, present, and future can all be interconnected. And the only way that we can make sure that we don't repeat the past is by becoming familiar with it, understanding it, acknowledging the pain, the trauma, the injustices, so that it doesn't continue to repeat itself, which, without trying to get too politically inclined, is something we're navigating today. And so shout out to Ryan Coogler, from the Bay to the Bay. You did your thing, man. Thank you for continuing to represent. Thank you for sharing these amazing stories, voices, just your imagination, your vision, and how you put it all together. Because the cinematography of the movie, too, had me emotional. Just like, yeah, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. And if you're not, like, fully informed on the various concepts that the movie's going to touch on, don't leave there being upset because it didn't meet your expectations. Leave there wanting to learn more. Be more curious to understand more. And then I'd even encourage you to then go watch it again after you've done some of that research if you, for whatever reason, didn't have that education, that knowledge previously. Because I'd imagine it'd give you an even greater appreciation. And for Miles, the actor that plays Sammy, man, your voice, just your talking voice, bro, I'm envious. Just your talking voice is amazing. And then your singing voice is mind-blowing. So many amazing shout-outs I could give to many actors from the movie. But again, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Worth every single second. I wish it could have been longer. I'm hoping that there might be a prequel or a sequel, whatever. Like, I just want to watch more.
I'm gonna let y'all know right now. I just came back from seeing Sinners. I'm finna talk to y'all for a minute. If you are Black American, that movie is going to validate so many things for you. That movie validated so much. There was so much. The lore, they had lore for everybody in that movie. That is how you do diversity, because everybody that was in that movie, they had Asian people in the movie, they had Native American people in the movie, they had Black people in the movie, they had white people in that movie, and they showed everybody's lore. There was nobody in that movie just to take up space. Everybody had a place. I heard terminology that I've been hearing my entire life, but I've never heard it in a movie. When that woman said, "Oh, it must be a Hank." Hold on, what you know about Hanks? That movie validated so much of like the Black spirituality and history and the music and religion. It validated so much, but heavy on the spirituality. I don't understand how Ryan Coogler was able to do that. That was insane. I mean, they had the Native American people. It started with Native American spirituality and lore, and they even had Native American people in there speaking their own language. It had the Asian people in there. It showed glimpses of their lore. They spoke their own language. But everybody was, the movie just worked. Ryan Coogler did that, and Michael B. Jordan was amazing in the movie. A dark-skinned Black love interest, I was here for it. There were so many calls to Black spirituality about letting spirits in. Like, this movie got me wanting to go sweep the salt. You have to make time to go see that movie. And when you go see that movie, do not get up until the lights come on. Like it really talked about how like music invokes us and like how it conjures spirits and like it's just there's just so much. I could talk about this for a straight hour. Ryan Coogler, right now, this probably will be the best movie of the entire year. Whatever awards you get are absolutely deserved. That cast was amazing. That writing was amazing. The cinematography was amazing. The terminology, the script, the dialogue. There were no filler scenes. There was no filler dialogue or anything like that. It was all. Please pay attention to the movie when you go. But anyway, I could talk about this forever. Go see the movie.
Okay, spoiler alert to the Sinners movie that I just saw last night. First of all, if you have not seen it, go see it. No, it is not super scary. It's not to be taken literally. Like, it's really not. And when you get to the end of the movie and the end of the credits, you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. In my opinion, I feel like that movie was about selling your soul to the music industry. We get taken through the journey of Preacher Boy seeing his gift that he has, and of course his dad's a preacher, so he's trying to get him to give it to gospel music. He even takes his guitar away, trying to make him stay in the church. Instead, he's like, man, he want to go do secular music. He want to, like, you know, be a part of what everybody else is doing in that industry. And we already know, the dad says, if you want to get mixed in with the devil, don't be surprised when he follows you home. Then we see how quickly everybody could be persuaded to come be a part of this just with money, with the promise of alcohol, drugs, different things that are like worldly, that everybody was like, you know what? Even the lady who was being disrespected, she's like, send my husband there. How much you paying? We even see how Annie's discernment and intuition was telling her, like, don't be a part of this. Even all of the spirits that were trying to get in, she knew from the jump. Like, she just kept knowing something is not right and ended up losing her life by being a part of it. Almost every single person ended up losing a person, as like what we hear of the human sacrifice when people sell their souls. Even at the end, we hear one of the brothers say, oh, you know, that night was so amazing. That's the last night I remember that just for a few hours, everybody was so free. You know, everybody was getting a freak on. Everybody was singing, having a great time, drinking, smoking, whatever. Which is much like what we hear, you know, some of these entertainment industry events start out as, or what the promise is to people who they know need money, or people who they know, like, whatever. They promise whatever seems so great. In this instance with the vampires, who are not to be taken literally, they're energy vampires. They're coming after your gift and trying to suck it from you to use whatever they can from it. Their promise is, hey, you're gonna live forever if you come with us right now. Whatever that means to you. If it's somebody from like a certain area, right, and they know they need bread, hey, you make this type of music, we promise we're gonna get you a house on the hills, we're gonna make your family rich, we're gonna this, we're gonna that. But then we hear so many stories of how down the line it goes left, and people are like, it's too late. They're already in these contracts, they're already binded, they already sold their soul, which is not to always be taken literally either. I think it was also so amazing how they depicted like how everybody who was just letting their demons get to them, or like not able to say no to that, how they were all just singing along as a chorus, like as if they couldn't even control themselves. Like anytime that one person who was like the leader of all of them is leading them to sing this or say that, they're just doing it blindly. And they're all trying to get to this one boy who has this amazing gift. And they're like, you know what? Screw all of y'all. We want that boy. We want his gift. Get him to come over here. And he refuses to sell his soul. Now, peep that this cannot happen until you invite it to happen. This cannot just take over your gifts until you decide to let them in, which we kept seeing with them not being able to get in the door. Now, at the end, when we see him make his way back to the church, I feel like we've seen that with a bunch of artists, you know, like Michelle Williams, for example. She was in Destiny's Child. She made her way back to like gospel music or things like that. But I also saw it as when he would not let that guitar go and we see him leaving at the end holding it, that's him going on his independent journey. So like how artists are like, I'm not selling my soul, I'm gonna do this the independent way, even if it's a bit harder, even if I'm not mainstream ASAP, it's fine, I'm going my own route. So fast forward to the end, we see him as an older man, and it's like he's still doing his art, he's happy, but he's probably not that mainstream because it was a small audience, a small band, but he was happy. And we see them come back in at the end looking like some, you know, record execs, like, hey, we still got that deal for you, like, we still can help you live forever, all these things, like, we still want your gift. And he's like, nah, I'm not doing it. I know how this goes with y'all already. I'm happy how I am. So they end up hearing his gift, and he's like, yeah, but you know, that night, didn't we have such a great time? That was like the best night of my life. And it was before everything blew up, when everybody had this promise of whatever they thought their future was going to be. Preacher Boy thought his future was about to be in, you know, blues with all his cousins and everybody else, and maybe going to Chicago. And like they thought their promise was about to be, you know, having this juke joint, whatever it was. Everybody's like promise who was not rooted in something. How do I say that? All I will say is I've always grown up hearing, watch how people talk, because my mother always used to say the devil is a smooth talker. And we always look at that one twin and how he was just finessing his way through like everybody, whatever they needed. Like I said in the beginning, he's like, I got that, just come on. But all of those people ended up paying for it. They ended up paying the cost by the end of the day or end of the night, because none of them survived it, other than Preacher Boy. There's so many other hidden things in this movie, like being the generational curse breaker and just having to see, you know, all the people that you have to leave behind who are still fighting their demons. That's how I saw it when Preacher Boy was staying on the inside and everybody else was on the outside still trying to get him to give into it, and just so many other things. But like, this movie was phenomenal. The TV film critic in me, I completely understand why it was given 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, bravissimo. And if you haven't seen it, you just spoiled it for yourself. But even if you saw it, I'm probably going to go see it again just to watch what comes up again. It was phenomenal.
Ryan Coogler's Sinners. And yes, there will be spoilers in this, so I knew that he could deliver. There was no question about that after Black Panther. However, I was not prepared for the artistry behind using vampires as a metaphor for toxic progressive whiteness. And let me just clarify here, I am not using whiteness as a term for white people. I'm talking about whiteness as a social construct that has motivated pretty much every single thing in our country since its conception. But I'm sitting here 2 days later and I'm thinking about the fact that Ryan set vampirism in juxtaposition with the Klan in the movie. And I think what's beautiful about it is, you know, the twins stacking smoke, they come into town, getting back from Chicago. They interact with this white gentleman who is giving Klan from the beginning, so it wasn't even like, you know, a question. But then Ryan takes the Klan out of the picture altogether, right, after they bought the property, and then enters these white vampires. The vampires are using this mantra of fellowship and love, right, to try and earn the trust of these beautiful Black people who are just trying to create their own oasis in this juke joint. But the reality was, even in spite of all of the trauma that every Black individual in that juke joint had experienced, including Smoke and Stack themselves, they had already created an oasis of fellowship and love within their own space. The vampires were trying to offer them something that they already had. Not only that, though, the vampires were also trying to take from Sammy what was so beautiful about him, right? His ability to create this surreal experience of music that could transcend both the realm of the living and the dead. And the first thing I thought of was the appropriation that happens with progressive toxic whiteness, right? This idea that just because allies are proximate to Blackness and Black people, they can commandeer elements of our culture like AAVE or the way we dress or our music because they've earned that, right? They've earned it through proximity alone. To hear Remick with this obsession around taking that from Sammy, I was like, wow, how many times have we seen versions of that in the real world? I'm just thinking out loud. There's so much more that can be said. My husband and I are gonna go see the movie again just because it was just that amazing. But if I'm right, it's such a beautiful portrayal of the way that racism continues to evolve in our country, right? That it has gone from this very overt racism enforced by the Ku Klux Klan to now this very covert experience of Black culture being taken and appropriated and suppressed through things like fake allyship, cultural appropriation, broken promises around legislation and policy creation that's supposed to protect and lead to the thriving of Black people, but never does. So this is just gonna have to be part one because I am blown away. Ryan Coogler has outdone himself.
Last thing I'm going to say about Sinners today. It is such a damn shame that this country, every time any Black people in this country try to build wealth, do anything prosperous for our communities to get ahead and to take back, honestly, all that has been stolen from us, all the wealth, the prosperity, the love, the joy, the hope, whatever, this country really tries to take it away. Like, it is diabolical that after surviving all these vampires, making it through the night, these white people were about to light up the juke joint. We can have no peace. We can have no joy without someone always trying to come and steal it. I mean, even on TikTok, all these little trends. And I mean, now dry brushing is popular. And like, I'm seeing that like a bunch of white people are figuring out like Black women and Black people know how to moisturize and keep their bodies oiled up. And that's why their skin looks so good. And one day, I'm sure that shit will be rebranded into Scandinavian dry brushing and Scandinavian body oil. Like, be so for real. It's always something. It's always something. And it's just so disheartening because I feel like Black communities, Black people could have prospered. And I mean, yes, we still do. We rise above, rah, rah, rah. But like, just the amount of things that have been stolen from us and stolen from a lot of people in this country, not to just talk about us. So shout out to Mr. Coogler for keeping his money and making a deal that allows him to continue to make money on this film that is his idea and that is an incredible idea. Because we have seen them try and continue to try
This is all
to
I
take
got
that
from
away.
this video, and a very big shout out to Ryan for doing a great job with directing the video. And seeing the video, you definitely will understand how diverse the video, like the movie is. That is how it should actually be. You could say the Black, the Asians, and all of that. And while seeing the video, from also, you can also hear what everybody is talking about. People enjoyed it, and some did not, or probably not did not, but because some said it was just too core for or too hard for them to watch, as they are Christians, as their spirituality and all that could not let them, different stories for different folks, and that is as it's okay, to have your own cycle. I did not bother, lining all of that together. Some also could understand how white supremacy has also been a thing for people that look like me and other people, and how now I keep I am going to ask this with all the stories too, like everybody that stitched the video talked about. I am going to say this. Why is it that people, some people are not working hard also to make sure that the system is dismantled. Because, like, you all can see how white supremacy, how it hurts literally every community. It hurts my community, it hurts other community, and then your own community. Probably you all are the ones enjoying all of it. You know, I rarely hear majority of you, because sometimes I feel like if this white supremacy is something that should be dismantled, it is something that all of you will have to come together, or majority of you will have to come together to dismantle. But then it looks like that is not even the case, because they do not want it dismantled. Because if they dismantle it, who do you want them to, like, to oppress or something like that? So it is my own people that have been working so hard to see how that could be dismantled. Because if you see how hard people that look like me work to get to literally everywhere they are, you can see, you can minus and plus, right? But in everything, I feel like some other communities too are not also ready to work hand in hand with people that look like me to make sure that some of it are dismantled. Why? Because they benefit from it. If you look at it from this angle, we definitely will find out that there are some of them that are light skinned. I don't know, like, they got some privilege from the supremacy. So for that reason, nobody cares. Or because they feel like, you can differentiate that this is not a black person. So for that reason, they are okay. No, you are also being hurt. And if you look around also what is going on presently in this administration, you can also understand how white supremacists affect literally everybody. It might not get to you direct, but partially it definitely will get to you. But maybe I might be the one suffering it more, but eventually it will get to you. But then how do we dismantle it so it does not get to anybody anymore? So everybody can do well in his or her own way, or in his or her own field, or in his or her own community. I am prospering in my own community, and you are also prospering in your own community. But no, you all already know that. That is also one of the reasons why a race was created. So I absolutely, okay, if you also listen to the girl that talked about how she had police experience being a black child, and her mother was the one that came out, which really, like, took another dimension. Not until the white man, the dad, or maybe the stepdad, came in the picture, and that was the end of discussion. This has actually been black people's experience. So what am I saying in essence? I am saying that I really do appreciate Ryan for doing a great job. And if you have not seen the video, what are you waiting for? What do I keep saying video? If you have not seen the movie, what are you waiting for? Go see it. And if you have seen it, tell me more about it in the comment section so we can interact. Or you can also interact with other people. I appreciate you all. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.